What's going on, people? Welcome to the United Stand, another Flex Fires. I'm here with the... look at his face, look at him. I'm here with Mr. DT. What are you saying, bro? What are you saying?
How you doing, man? You all right?
I'm good, man. This is the first time we've caught up on a video over the quarantine. I thought you was ducking me or something. You know what I mean?
No, we have caught up, but you probably can't remember because you was drinking too much. And you were doing like DJ set.
That don't count. That don't count.
I know Instagram not shut you down yet.
No, they haven't. I'm going again on Friday, actually, which I'll plug at the end of the show for sure.
You're doing like some marathon, like
7-hour DJ sets, mate.
7-hour DJ sets, man.
Oh, listen, the United Stand dropped me out the quiz as well. I kept coming last when it was me, Rance, and Goldbridge, so they tactically left me out against you and Claude, which you did all right individually, but ended up losing to the United Stand on the quiz.
Yeah, well, I said this to Robbie in the podcast the other day. I felt like Aubameyang in the quiz, that I was doing my job. I was scoring the goals, doing everything that needed to be done, but behind me, I didn't have the support that I needed.
Nada.
So as a team, we lost, but individually, I won.
Yeah, I hear that. Mark is in the comments. He says DT rematch Saturday. So yeah, check out DT. He'll be back. Are you bringing Claude again with you? Are you being a one-man band, or are you bringing a different partner in crowd?
Claude's coming again, but it's not a general knowledge quiz. It's a football quiz. And the one thing I will say about Claude is that when it comes to football, he does know what he's on about.
Stuff. Yeah.
And when we talked about the football parts in that quiz the other day, any football questions, Claude was straight in there.
Yeah.
Bang, on it.
Old school.
Yeah, as soon as you started speaking about planets and the moon and stuff, Claude was like that, pouring another glass of wine. Like,
he got back.
I don't know what's going on.
Oh gosh, listen. So yeah, make sure you check out that quiz on Saturday. Smash a like on the video as well. Let's see if we can get up to a couple of thousand people watching live as well. Look, obviously, like the video title says, Man United Champions League boost. There's loads of different scenarios that could happen. There's loads, but one of them that obviously we want to just start off with is that obviously the season could be voided. Man United get 5th, but Man City can't go in there. And Man United get it. Arsenal down there in 8th. That's one scenario. I mean, talk to me about that, if that was to happen.
Do you know what? The strangest thing is that there's no difference, apart from a couple of points, between a Champions League space and being out of Europe completely.
Yeah.
You know, a win, 2 wins maximum here or there, 2 defeats, and you can go from 4th or 5th into 8th or 9th. I've said this all along, and I've said it to Robbie, that I would rather we have no European football at all than play in the Europa League. I'd rather we drop out for a year.
You need to see even a little bit of the money or something, just even being in that?
No, because I think it's more of a hindrance to the side. Playing in that Europa League, playing on a Thursday night, automatically means that your games are going to be Sundays. You have all these random trips to random places on a Thursday where you don't want to go. You know, you've been to Kazakhstan this season and what?
I had a great time.
Yeah, do you know what I mean? It was like, and it was funny when we first went in the Europa League because I'd spent 21 years going to Champions League games and, you know, visiting some of the biggest stadiums and best teams in the world. And then all of a sudden you're visiting teams you can't even pronounce. So for 1 year, it was nice. But then it was like, right, hold on a minute. I'll take getting thrashed at Bayern Munich again. Just get me back to the Allianz Arena, man, on a Tuesday or Wednesday. But I would rather, if we're not in the Champions League, I'd rather us not be in Europe at all, man. Gives us a chance to really rebuild as a team.
And the games don't come, obviously, as thick and fast as you say. But, you know, one thing that you have to think about is Sheffield United, because if that was to happen and they just void it, that's almost like voiding it and then deciding who gets relegated, deciding who gets promoted just by with games in hand that haven't been played. You know, Aston Villa could say, we've got a game in hand over Watford. We could have won that. So Watford staying up is unfair. Sheffield United can say, well, we're below Man United by 1 game, but if we win our game in hand, we'd be 5th and then we'd go to the Champions League. So I don't really, as much as that would be funny to see you guys not get in it and us to sneak in there, it wouldn't be fair, especially on the likes of Sheffield United and stuff like that, because you know I don't believe they should be voiding this season and leaving things to chance.
Yeah. No, I get what you're saying. And I had a look this week at all the other major leagues around Europe, and everyone's played the same amount of games. The Premier League is quite rare in the fact that 4 teams have not played the same amount of games. And I don't care who you are, what it's about, you cannot go by league standings when nobody's played the same amount of games. You know, and the games, like you've just mentioned, are important. Now, to me, I've just said that I don't want to go into the Europa League, right? But the Arsenal owners might want us into the Europa League minimum because of the extra revenue.
They probably would, wouldn't they?
Right? Now, we got a game in hand. Okay, it's Man City. You can't tell me that, you know, it's an impossibility that we could win. Let's say we win that game. We jump into a Europa League place. So we've got an argument as to why it's not fair. Sheffield United, they win their game in hand. They go above Manchester United into 5th place. Man City's ban gets upheld. Sheffield United are in the Champions League. They've got a massive reason why they, you know, want to say it's not fair. Aston Villa, like you just said, win their game in hand. They're out of the relegation zone. Of course, they're going to have something to say. The only team that's got a game in hand where it doesn't really matter is Man City, because they're not going to fall down to third.
Yeah.
So 3 teams out of the 4 have a genuine, valid reason to say, well, hold on a minute, that's not fair. No. And there'll be legal ramifications and all sorts that are entered into this. And I honestly don't know. Someone's going to be unhappy. We've already had this discussion even off air that somebody somewhere is going to be unhappy. You know, if you go with the coefficient ratings, then Leicester, Sheffield United, they're going to be unhappy. Arsenal, Man United will be buzzing because we'll be in the Champions League. Listen, man, good luck.
But even if you don't go on the coefficiency thing, and there's a news article that's kind of come out in the last half an hour or so from the Daily Mail, sort of saying that UEFA could decide it on sporting merit, which means that Man United, Tottenham, and Arsenal could all miss out on points per game, because obviously we've been crap this season. You could look at it that way as well. I mean, there's so many different scenarios of how this thing, and the other thing of Man City may or may not get in. So
do you know what? It's strange as well, because I want to see what that table looks like with the points to gain, because I've heard someone already say that we would actually be above Spurs, even though we're behind them in the table, because we've drawn so many games. Like, we've lost the same amount of games as Manchester City this season.
Mad.
How on earth have we lost the same as Manchester City, who everybody raves about? It's the draws that have killed us. Too many draws. And yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know what they're going to do.
We've actually lost less than them. They've lost 7. You've lost 6.
Oh, we lost less than Man City?
Yeah. Just looked at it now, yeah.
Can we go?
You've got 13 draws.
There you go.
Which is the joint most in the league.
You know what? I think that maybe what we should do then is Champions League places are rewarded to the teams with the less defeats. You know, so Liverpool, Arsenal. Anything to get Arsenal in the Champions League, man. The other thing that I said to you earlier on was that it was reported yesterday that Mikel Arteta catching coronavirus has possibly saved lives, because obviously the Premier League weekend was going to go ahead. Fans were all attending the football stadiums. There was no bans in place. And then 24 hours before the first Premier League game that weekend, Mikel Arteta has coronavirus. He saved lives. I think for that alone, we deserve a Champions League place.
Is that the levels you lot are willing to go? That just
I'm trying everything.
The banter club of Arsenal. There you go. That is absolutely.
I'm trying everything. I just want to get back into the Champions League. I want to hear the song. What was it on? I think it was on Robbie's 24-hour stream the other day, and the one I was over Mark's or Robbie's, whichever one it was, and I was saying to him, I said that this is how bad it is right now. I said, I've got a 4-year-old son, right? So he only knows the Europa League anyway. And he's so into football, goes to all the games with me, plays football and everything. And he was sitting there in the front room the other day playing football because it was raining outside. And he was like, Dad, can you put that song on for me? And he was like, you know, the song when we go to football. And I'm sitting there thinking to myself, what song gets played when we come out at the Emirates and that? And I'm like, it's not good old Arsenal anymore. I'm like, what are you going on about? And he's like, you know, the song like when we played Olympiacos. And I was like, the Europa League song.
Yeah, mate, that's all he knows.
Ellie, and I put the Europa League song on. And he was like, yeah, that's the one, Dad. And I was like, even my son only knows the Europa League.
That must break your heart. Yeah, that must.
Like,
your son only knows Arsenal for being dead, isn't it?
I was like, no, this has got to change. This has got to change. So now I let him hear the Champions League anthem and I tell him one day
we'll be there.
We will
probably
be there.
Don't even know what it is.
I promise you, we will be there one day. I can't promise you that we'll win it because we've never won it. But I promise you, you will hear this anthem one day and it will replace the Europa League one.
I was going to say, it would be great if you could at least show him like a little box set of DVD of that one year where you went all the way to glory, which obviously you can't do. And you don't want to damage him by showing him, you know, losing in the final and stuff like that. So it's best that you just probably show him getting to the final of Europa League. Well, what was it? No, was there an Intertoto Cup or something? Bav tried to argue or something. There was a cup that you won that was European level before it changed or something. So some technicality.
Listen, hold on a minute. You've won the exact same. It was the Cup Winners' Cup. I think Mark Hughes won you your one when you beat Barcelona. So the fact that Manchester United and Barcelona and that were competing in a final of a Cup Winners' Cup as well shows that it wasn't just a muggy competition.
Yeah, but it just shows that when the levels come in and they bring in the big boy competitions, you know, the big man them go and win them. You know what I mean? We were rocked in the Champions League final. Do you know what the funniest thing is? Yeah, this is just off topic, just because we're just talking about it. The funniest thing, yeah, I've got to say, was the season, obviously, when Chelsea beat you in the Europa League final, because you know what it was about that, yeah. They didn't even need to win it; they'd already had qualification for the Champions League. Oh, mate, that was just. Yeah,
you know what? I hope that you finish fifth, and I hope that they don't uphold Man City's ban and they allow them for another season, and you have to go back to Borat FC.
Yeah, but at least we can still win it. I don't care. We've won it. At least we've won it. You went in the Borat Cup and still couldn't even win the Borat Cup.
Vlogs. I can't wait to see your vlogs next season when you play because Josh is late and everything else. I can't wait.
Oh, mate. Oh, they've been. Do you know what? Yeah. Obviously, nobody wants to be in the competition. It's crap in it. But I can't lie. Getting to travel to them places and go to all them different. I mean, you was somewhere with all ski goggles on, going down slopes and stuff. Where was that? Was that Sweden?
Sweden. We played Östersund,
didn't it? Yeah.
It was nearly -20.
This is what I mean. That's what it was in Kazakhstan as well. It was like -25 and shit like that.
Mate, it was like, you remember watching the film Cool Runnings?
Yeah.
They first get to Calgary and the door opens and they were just standing there.
It was so funny. I think Mark's in the comments trolling. It could be Joy. He says, your highlights next season, DT, will be a draw away to Bournemouth, mid-table battles.
See, Goldbridge, go and worry about your cooking show. Right? Do you know what I mean? It's like there's no mid-table about. Like I said, look, all banter aside, we're in a position that don't look great. But is there a big gap between the fourth place team and Arsenal?
It's been tight the whole time. It's been tight the whole time.
Do you know what I mean? So it's one of those, man. We're just going to have to deal with it. I'd say apart from Liverpool, Man City, and Leicester, nobody really deserves anything.
It's true. It's true. There's been such inconsistency in that time.
Sheffield United, sorry.
Because technically they're not supposed to be there, but they've done brilliantly.
Yeah, they've had good seasons, and I think Wolves have had a great season, given the fact that they've been juggling European football as well. So yeah, they've done really well.
I was reading that Cooking with Goldbridge is coming. DT can learn how to make a lasagna instead of dancing in Nando's having a piss. Oh yeah, I saw your tweet earlier. You said you missed it.
Listen, are you telling me that when you go to the toilet in Nando's and that music's playing full blast,
have a little cheat?
You know what I mean? Everyone does it. If you go to Nando's and you go in the toilets and you don't move, you're lying. I'm sorry, but that music. And I was just sitting there yesterday. I was like, yeah,
I'm busting a little salsa.
Toilet music right now, and it's like a bit of salsa on and all that. Nah.
I bet you're a lemon and herb man.
Hey, no. Listen,
no spice, bro. Dead chicken. Lemon and herb, man.
Listen, don't portray me with the rest of them. All right, it ain't none of that. I know how to season my chicken.
Okay.
Right? I can't have the hot sauce no more like I used to. Do you know what I mean? Medical conditions and all that. I'm certainly not no lemon and herb.
All right,
man.
I'll give you medium.
I reckon Mark's a lemon and herb guy.
Yeah.
You know he is.
I don't even think Mark goes Nando's. I don't even think he's a Nando's guy.
You don't reckon?
I don't think Mark. Mark, put in the comments. Do you go Nando's or not? I don't know.
I reckon Mark's like a little chef.
Or where? Wendy's.
Wendy's.
You can get Frankfurter and chips.
Mate, you know he goes to TGI on his birthday and gets the cake brought out with the song and everything.
Mark says chicken korma is my limit, mate. There you go. That says it all.
There you go. Absolute plain, man.
Look at that. I went Nando's for the first time ever last year. See what I mean? Where's he been living? I bet them rural areas that he lives in, no Nando's. He's only been Nando's the first time last year.
Nando's and he's like, peri chips? What the hell's peri chips?
Peronaise?
What's going on here with spicy rice? What's that all about? I mean, we got no boiled rice or anything? Come on.
Oh, God. That is funny. Anthony Court says, you realise neither of you will get Champions League spot, ha, 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 which it could happen. I can't really laugh at that. It's true. It really could happen. Up to over 1,500 people watching, which is sick. Love that. Next topic, DT, man. These supposed owners at Newcastle coming in. Sounds like Mike Ashley might finally sell up. The Geordies might finally get what they want. I think they've been campaigning for new owners longer than Arsenal fans. Yeah. They've really wanted Mike Ashley out for years.
Yeah.
Big backing from Saudi Arabian princes and that. Like, could that spell trouble for us? We're trying to fight that gap to claw back against Liverpool and City, and obviously we're nowhere near at the moment. You add them into the mix with super funds. Could they be the next City? Could they be the next Chelsea?
I think they could well be, but I think it will take a little bit longer than what they did. You know, the amount of money that this guy owns, he makes Man City's owners look broke. You know, it's ridiculous. But because of financial fair play, and because of Man City, you know, being pulled up on it so recently, they are going to be watching them, you know, and what actually happens. And I don't think it's going to be like Chelsea where they can just throw money at players left, right and centre and get away with it. They've got to build. And I've spoken to a few people at Newcastle. And yeah, there is that excitement about it. But at the same time, there's the realization that it is a building process. And, you know, a lot of Newcastle fans want to see their training ground rebuilt because it's never been touched since Mike Ashley's been there.
Old school, man.
You know, they want to improve the facilities and, you know, so that when you get world-class players in, they're going to come to the best facilities. And I've said so many times that your training facilities are more important than your stadium. Stadium's nice. It's great playing in front of 50, 60,000, whatever people a week. But the training facility is where they spend 90% of their time. Not the stadium. They go there once a week, twice a week max. Play a game for 90 minutes, go home. Training is where their base is. That's where they can have breakfast, lunch, dinner, train.
Recover,
you know what I mean?
Sports science, psychology, everything.
Everything. All the medical stuff, everything's all there. So the base has to be like a home. It has to be somewhere that they're happy and comfortable. So I think that Newcastle, it's going to be a worry for the rest of us. Big time going to be a worry because they're going to be able to compete. And, you know, are they going to be one of these clubs as well that if a player comes on the market And, you know, we're all going, yeah, you know what, he's all right. Yeah, we'll go in for him. And Newcastle go, you know what, we'll just
exactly. Now, what I find interesting about this is you know, we've discussed at United. I don't know how the Arsenal fans have discussed it, but having sort of Saudi owners and, you know, Man United have usually prided themselves on the fact that we're self-sufficient. We haven't got oil money that's just come in and we've then become rich, or, you know, we haven't just got a prince who's just come and slapped a load of money down. And it divided a lot of fans, because some fans were saying at the time, like, I don't give a shit where the money comes from. I just want to see big investment. And, you know, the Glazers have left us in a real bad state. We've got bad owners. They take out way more than they put in. But we have seen investment in terms of big funds. It's just that our investment and our recruitment hasn't been good. But in terms of spending money, it's weird, really, because Man United's got such power. It's like we're in debt, but we can still spend. But they're not actually spending their own money. Whereas if we had you know, those big investors who are willing to invest, like the Saudi princes and stuff like that, they actually put out of their own pocket and spend proper, not against the club. I mean, would you, you know, be happy if that happened at Arsenal?
Do you know what it is? The biggest issue that I think a lot of football fans have had with the likes of Manchester City and Chelsea is that before the money came in, they were nothing clubs. With all due respect, nothing. The three biggest clubs in England before, during, and even now are Manchester United, Liverpool, and Arsenal.
Facts, yeah. Simple
facts. You know, all three teams won the title over 10 times, and you know so I look at it like, I don't like Manchester United, for example, and there's always that banter and the rivalry that we've always had right back to the early 90s with the first ever Battle of Old Trafford, right up to the Van Nistelrooy, Pizzagate, whatever it may be. But I've got respect for Manchester United because I know where they come from. I know their history. I know what they're about. I got respect for Liverpool, despite the fact that I can't stand some of their fans and they do my nutting every time they win something, because I know where Liverpool come from and I know their history. Chelsea, come on, man. They sold their club for £1 to Ken Bates. They don't care.
But and this is the flip side, the devil's advocate. Okay, if there could be, there's probably Chelsea fans in the comments. You say that, which I see what you're saying. It's not built on solid foundations. It's like you were nothing, almost like Man City. Man City were in like Division 1 and that. They're like struggling relegation, yo-yoing between the top and the league below the Prem, or the First Division as it was. But if you look at the success they've had in that period, you can't say that they haven't been a success. Like, would you have swapped that?
No, I get that they're a success, but I would say that the reason why people don't like their success is because they've bought their success. You know, there's nothing built about them. Like Man City have got a fan base. They've got a decent fan base, right? Regardless of the empty seats every week, they do have a good core, you know, regular fans that were there during the tough times. But they shouldn't be
not loads though.
Yeah, but they shouldn't be. But this is the thing: they shouldn't be building 50, 60,000 seater stadiums because they can't fill it. It's a simple fact. And if you do, despite what it is now, if you do honestly speak to people and you say, "Name me a club in Manchester," people will say Manchester United more than they will say Man City. If you turn around and say a club in North London, they'll pick Arsenal, not Tottenham. You know, despite the recent successes of Chelsea, Arsenal is still the biggest club in London. Chelsea still haven't won more trophies than us, you know, as a whole. Even if you take the Community Shield out of it, which I never count as a trophy because it's a charity game. It's a Community Shield. It's a curtain raiser to the start of a season. We still won more trophies than everyone in London. So would I take their money? 100%. Because I feel...
So you would? Yeah. We got there in the end. He's like, yeah, I would.
No, because what it is, because we've built our foundation.
Yeah.
We've built a foundation, and regardless of what you might think about us, could you really, you know, be aggrieved that Arsenal having some success now and having we've done everything. We've had the ups, the downs. We've contributed to being, you know, right back to the 30s when we were winning league titles 2-3 seasons in a row and everything.
You've earned your stripes, is what you're saying.
winning doubles and doing everything else. You know what I mean? There's only just one piece of silverware that's eluded us, man. Do you know what I mean?
I hear you.
You know, so I don't see the point. And you know, obviously, if for example, there's talk of the Nigerian guy, Dangote, I believe his name is, that said he wants to buy Arsenal by 2021, and he's like, you know, the Nigerian version of, you know, the Saudis, and he ain't got as much money as them, but he was certainly. Listen, I'll get Kelechi's microphone and I'll sing with him. We get one of them owners, man. If someone comes in and actually brings back those good times, because I feel that we're in a position now where I feel that the only way you're going to compete in this league is by investing money. You know, the days where it was down to how smart you were, and the ability of the players and the managers to get the best out of maybe not the best players, that's gone.
Yeah,
you know,
you need to invest heavily, and if you don't, you get left behind. Yeah,
the Ferguson era, the George Graham era, the start of the Wenger era. You got to remember, we bought Dennis Bergkamp in. I know it weren't Wenger, it was Bruce Rioch, but we bought him in. He was a flop at Inter Milan. We bought in Thierry Henry. He was a flop at Juventus. We bought in Nicolas Anelka. Nobody knew who he was. Vieira from AC Milan for like 500 grand. So it was all about the management and getting the best out of those players and building a team to be successful. Now I feel it's like we need a centre back. Who's the best? How much? Bang, go get him. Ready made, has to be done. Even Manchester United, you had to do it. You needed to sort your defence out. Who's on the market? Who they're talking about? Harry Maguire. Bang, got to pay the going rate.
Why did you not end up with David Luiz then for 8 million?
Because we spent all the money up the way.
Oh, I love you. I was thinking, hold on a minute. Hold on. Yeah, he's right. Yeah, all right, cool. Yeah, okay, I get that. Yeah, what the best defense? Yeah, get the. So why'd you get David Luiz? Wait, and the other guy, what's the Brazilian guy? Is he for free?
What, Martinelli?
No, the centre back. Is he Brazilian?
Oh, Mari.
Yeah.
He's on loan.
Okay.
But he's got the option to buy at the end of the season, and the talk is that, you know, he will be, you know, signing. But what I mean is, as well, with that, you've also, the same principle applies in terms of that you will not always buy superstar players. You can go and get the ready-mades and some of them, but you've also got to be able to spend £5 to £10 million or less than that and turn them into something. You know, when Arsenal signed Martinelli, for example, everyone was going, who the hell's this kid? I've never heard of him. Who's this? Oh, typical Arsenal, spending like peanuts when we need to go and get a ready-made like player, blah, blah, blah. Martinelli's been one of our players of the season, one of the breakthroughs of the season, one of the best youngsters in the Premier League in terms of like what he's been doing. So it shows that it's not all about spending money, but ultimately you need to be able to spend it as well as to add to all of those little hidden gems and the ones that you find here or there. The problem with Arsenal is that we needed so many players in so many positions that by the time we got to sorting out the centre back, we'd spent everything.
Spent it all on Pepe. Yeah, exactly. I hear you. Let me just get through these super chats real quick. Jared McCormack has been on screen for a while. Says, love your work, lads, all the way from Melbourne, Australia. If you could take any player from mid-bottom table of the Prem, who would you take? Who would you take from mid-table to bottom?
Mid-table. Well,
so we'll say Crystal Palace down.
A name that I've mentioned because I feel that we need to sort out our right back position. I would take Max Aarons from Norwich.
Yeah, good player.
He's a very good player. If you're going to say that we keep our players and we're not getting rid of them, then I don't think that we need to sort out our attacking area in terms of strikers and wingers and whatnot. I feel that we've got enough.
Okay. Everton are 12th. They got Andre Gomez. They got Calvert-Lewin. They got Richarlison.
I'm trying to think top of my head.
You got these are the teams. You got Everton, Newcastle, Southampton, Brighton, West Ham, Watford, Bournemouth, Villa, and Norwich. You could include Burnley, to be fair, because that's 10th. So
I don't think there's anyone at Burnley that I would want.
you wouldn't take Chris Wood just to be a bastard.
No. No.
Ashley Barnes.
No.
Dwight McNeil looks all right.
Who?
Dwight McNeil. Looks all right.
The thing
Take him over anything you got now.
Nah, that's the thing. And it's the only real position that I really feel that we need to strengthen. And as a player that could suit our mould would be Max Aarons.
I'll take Jack Grealish.
Yeah, Grealish is one as well.
Yeah, I'll take him. And you know what I'll take? I'll take Sarr from Watford. Ismaila Sarr. I know you've got Pepe there, so maybe not for you. But
you know what? Do you know what? Actually, there's a name now. You mentioned Watford, Decore.
Yeah, Decore.
That's someone. But the
Declan
thing is,
Rice,
for the price that they want, dear Lord.
Well, let's leave prices out of it. But in terms of, would you take the player?
Oh, he's definitely got ability, definitely. But if I was to be given the choice right now out of Decore or Declan Rice, I'd have Decore.
Okay,
I would. The person
he's a little bit older, but he might.
I just think that he would suit our game. He's got that look of Vieira about him. I don't know whether that's the thing with Arsenal fans, that we just want to replace Vieira.
Yeah, you want that whole thing. Yeah. What about the Zaha saga?
Well, I think that's done and dusted now. I think that boat has sailed. I can't really see that Arsenal going in, because I've got no problem with Pepe, absolutely no problem. And I think next season he's only going to get better. And we were starting to see the signs of it before the season broke. And, you know, people can banter and this, that, the other and whatever, but it takes time. He's took his time, but his ability, I see it every single week. And I was seeing the progression and the fact that he was learning to take the whacks now, the physicality of the Premier League and everything else. And I think that will come. But looking at the other sides as well, the emergence of Saka, if we're going to keep Tierney at left back, for example, or Kolasinac, then Saka will go into his more natural position, which is a left winger. He's proven, you know, what he can do. Martinelli as well. Aubameyang also goes out on that left-hand side. So I think that in terms of our width, I think we're all right. I think it's the core at Arsenal that we need to sort out, to be honest with you. Someone that goes in that kind of 10 role, defensive midfielder, like a Thomas Partey, please. Oh my God, I'd have a party if we signed him.
Yeah, a lot of Man United fans want him as well.
Yeah, and then a centre back, because I think that we're set with a goalkeeper as well. I think for the first time in a very long time, we've got a keeper that we can depend on.
Okay. I'll just read out some of the people's comments here. Neil Gunner says Nathan Aki. Jake Bollum said Todd Cantwell. Freddie Stairs says Ings ? A lot of people saying Aki. Lewis Dunk is another one. I think he's good in Ndidi, but obviously he's third in the league, so that doesn't help. McGinn from Aston Villa. John McGinn's quite a decent player. So yeah, I see what you're saying. Ajmal Kosman says, how did it feel to see Arsenal owner selling all the players to City and subsequent fall from grace? Do you think the same is going to happen to United?
This is the thing. I've had a lot of discussions the last few days over the Mesut Ozil situation, and I said that what's Stan Kroenke actually done for us as a club? You know, he's now saying, I'm going to dip my hands in my pocket and help the club out, etc. Well, yeah, cheers, mate. Thanks. It's only 15 years too late. When we really needed the help from Stan Kroenke, we didn't get it. You know, when players were being sold to Man City, he wasn't sitting there trying to rebuild the side around those players. He was going, yeah, we'll cash in, take the money, get lesser quality. We've all heard it. Cesc Fabregas recently turned around and said the only reason why he left was because of the ambition. And he felt there was only a couple of players of that world-class level. The rest was just average, basically, to put it bluntly. Van Persie, he openly turned around and said the reason why he left was because the club didn't have the same,
it doesn't match.
He did. Right. Yanamais went on to Robbie's thing last week, and he said that Sanya left Arsenal because it was them that forced him out and said, you're going. Adebayor, we know his agent really well, myself and Robbie, Ross, his old man.
Was that his agent, is it?
Yeah. Yeah, that's Adebayor's
agent. At the time?
At the time, he was Adebayor's agent. And he actually wrote about this in his book. And he turned around and said that Arsene Wenger went to Adebayor and said, we've accepted a bid from Man City, you're going. And Adebayor was like, no.
So it's not like these players were, you know, how they were pictured or painted in the aftermath was that they kicked up a stink and wanted to leave, when really it's Arsenal.
This is why with the Adebayor situation, for example, he said he didn't want to go. Wenger said, I've been told that you're going to accept it and go, or you're going in the reserves. And he was like, have no choice. And then Adebayor turned around and said that when he left, the Arsenal fans started singing songs about him and his mum and all that kind of stuff and whatnot. And the reason why he done that celebration when he ran the length of the pitch in front of us was because of that reason, and because he never wanted to leave in the first place. But he was not allowed to openly say why he left. And he was made to look like the bad guy. Oh, Adebayor, it's all about the money. You left. That's the reason why.
That's what I thought everyone thought about him from Arsenal.
Yeah. But as it actually transpires, and as you know, John wrote in his book, it wasn't like that at all. Adebayor was actually told, you're going, we've accepted a bid. If you don't accept it, you're going in the reserves for the remainder.
People don't realise that as players that you know, that can happen. It's like any job. You know, your manager can go, right, don't want you to work anymore. I'm giving you the sack, which essentially in football terms is I'm moving you on to a different club or whatever. And there's not a lot you can do about it, because you've got your contract, so the manager can, you know, you might have to stay at the club. You say, oh, I'm on my wages, mate, I'll sit here. But most footballers who've got a bit about them, the money's not an issue. They want to play football, especially the top players. So I think people got to take that into consideration. And the second part of that question was, do you think that could happen to Man United?
No, because I don't think that Manchester United are a club where they're going to just lose all their players, despite the issues with your owners. And I'll leave you to get involved in all of that stuff. I don't know the ins and outs. And, you know, some of us from the outside looking in think that it's a bit hypocritical at times, because we see it and go, well, why are they moaning? They're spending money. It's not the owner's fault that the money's not being spent right. But what I've learned over the years of having Stan Kroenke as owner and Ivan Gazidis and all of that is that these are the guys that should be putting the right people in charge to spend the money correctly. You know, you might spend money on a player that doesn't work out. It happens. We don't know. We haven't got a crystal ball, but the owners should be able to employ people that understand a football club first and foremost, and they should be able to trust them with how the money's being spent. Manchester United have wasted a ridiculous amounts of money since Sir Alex Ferguson left. Ridiculous amounts. And the issue is that because managers keep changing, when a new manager comes in, he'll have his own ideas, his own players, his own style. So players that you've just spent 150, 200 million pound on might not fit his style. And he'll go, well, hold on a minute, I don't want them, I don't want that, I want this. Then you'll bring those players in, he'll freeze those ones out, he'll then get sacked, another manager comes in and he says, yeah, but I wanted the guy that you've just put on the transfer list and I don't want him. And it's a never-ending cycle. And the issue is that, you know, with Manchester United, I think the worst thing that probably could have happened to you lot was this run that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer went on. Because you're now in a position where I feel that you've got to back him because the results were good. But is it going to flip just as it did a year ago, where everything was so great and then bang, everything got turned upside down?
I think the difference with this time is, to answer the back end of that, is I'm not going to say this time feels different and we're amazing now, because we're not. At the end of the day, when the league comes back, we could still finish 8th. Like, do you know what I mean? Especially now that teams are going to get their players back, everyone's had a rest. You know, we was about to play Tottenham and we almost certainly were going to slap them up. Didn't have no players. And now whenever we do play Tottenham again, if we do, everyone will be back. It'd be a whole different thing. Yeah, it'd be behind closed doors probably, but there's so many if, buts and maybes. And I think the last section, since January, where our form started to change was massively down to Bruno Fernandes's arrival. And then the confidence of the team just grew from there. But it was just an isolated patch. It wasn't like we went on a 8-9 game winning streak in the Prem, and we're smashing it up. We're still not in 4th spot. We're still behind Chelsea. We still got to win them games. So any Man United fan who thinks that we're back and it's fine and it's done, I think they're mistaken. But the only thing you can do, which I always look at this side of it, is look at the positives. And if there was, away from just the results, you've got to look at, sometimes that isn't just results, because I know results can dictate whether you get sacked or whether you stay. But if you look at the state of our squad, it's now looking slightly more balanced. Every player that Solskjaer has signed has been good, very good. James, not a lot was expected of him because he's coming from the Championship for £15 million at Swansea, so he's done all right. But apart from him, who's still finding his feet, Fernandes has been unbelievable straight away. Even Igalo's done his little bit where we never thought we'd get him. Maguire's been solid. Wan-Bissaka's been unplayable. All of those players have done all right. And then we're linked with the likes of Jadon Sancho. If we bring him in, that's a frightening front three. Sancho, Martial, Rashford. Then you've got Pogba coming back into it now. Obviously, from the outside looking in, it is a mess, and probably has been. And United fans, it's still a mess. A lot of people think they don't want him here and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, I think that if he does stay, it's a different Man United that he's coming back to. With the likes of Bruno, Rashford's playing, scoring more goals than he's ever scored before. Martial stepping up. It's just a different feel. So I think that Solskjaer deserves a chance, like you said, just to see where it goes. We're in that situation where we've got to kind of back him. He's not in a position where he's on his last legs. He's hovering around 15th in the league, and we're not at that stage yet. So you're right. I get that. I do get that. But we're not a team usually who kind of just sells all our best players to our rivals or anything like that. Even with the Pogba situation, he wanted to go ages ago. And we were just like, nope, you ain't going. David De Gea did the same thing, wanted to go Real Madrid. Ed Woodward literally pulled the plug out the fax machine. Literally. Like, we're ruthless like that. If we don't want you to go, you ain't
literally cost the man 3 Champions League winners medals in a row, man.
And then no one wants to buy him because he's so expensive and he's getting a bit older now. And now he's stuck and he just signed a contract with us anyway.
I know. If anything, I think he's going a little bit downhill as well. I think some of his
by his standards, he is. He's still top keeper, but because
he's still top keeper. It's just that I don't know, man. It's just one of those. I just think that when goalkeepers start to go downhill, there's no going back. If you know what I mean. Yeah,
they usually can't. Yeah, I get what you're saying.
You never really see a goalkeeper dip and then rediscover what he had. And I just feel that some of his mistakes have been becoming more and more consistent. Yeah,
definitely. The last sort of couple of months, he got a lot better. But the last 18 months for him in total have been really bad, really, really bad. Yeah. I think it goes on the kind of meter that you have of greatness. When I say meter, hypothetically, I mean like how good you are to start with can depend on like when you fall off, are you still very good? Do you see what I mean? Because he was exceptional. Yeah. Him falling off, he's now good, as opposed to exceptional, which is still good for us. And we got Dean Henderson at Sheffield United, who looks a real good keeper as well. He's on loan there, so we keep him on loan for a year or so more. And then who knows?
Is he?
He's on loan, mate. Yeah, he's on loan there. So brilliant. So we've got Sergio Romero, who's a brilliant number 2. So we've got literally the best crop of keepers, I'd say, in the Premier League overall.
Wow. I didn't realise that you got that Henderson was Man United's goalkeeper. I don't think you've got to worry about them because I've rated him this season. He's looked very good.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, now I know he's a Man United player who's crap.
It's just because he's better than all your keepers put together.
No, do you know what?
Dean Henderson's better than Leno.
I think that
he's better than Leno.
Shut up.
He's better than this year.
Listen.
Comment. Dean Henderson better than Leno.
Leno is top 3 in the Premier League, in my opinion, all day. Leno is superb. If it wasn't for Leno and Aubameyang this season, then we would be in the relegation zone.
But Leno, I remember seeing a stat. Leno and De Gea were up there with most mistakes.
Listen, them stats are the most misleading stats you've ever seen in your life.
Why? Because everyone's using them to decide that De Gea is crap because he makes all these mistakes.
I'll tell you why they're misleading, right? Because Leno's never actually made... It's down to interpretation as to what you call a mistake, yeah? Like there was a goal that was conceded against Southampton. Now the ball was put in the box and Leno couldn't reach it. He physically could not reach this cross. And it was actually Koscielny's fault for not picking up his man and clearing the ball. But yet it goes down as a Leno mistake. You know, the only times I can genuinely think of a mistake by Leno where you go, yeah, that's a proper mistake, would be when we played Chelsea at home.
Yeah, that was a mistake.
He dropped the free kick.
Yeah.
You know, and it's what some of the stipulations that they have for a goalkeeping error are just pathetic. It's like what I just said there, like that one that Leno drops, that's a goalkeeping error. That's a clanger. That's, you know, I think David De Gea did it in a game. What game was it most recently where he made a mistake in the game?
Flipping out. It was Everton, mate. He kicked it straight to Calvert-Lewin.
Yeah, that's a goalkeeping error. Yeah, that's a goalkeeping error. It's not the numbers that it is. If you go and look at Leno's ratio this season and the saves that he's made and what he's done to keep us in games, we were going into games under Unai Emery and conceding 24, 25 shots on goal a game. And if it wasn't for Leno, we'd be getting battered.
Look, do you know what it is? I think it's true. I think Leno's had different types of mistakes because he's not going to get a stat of 7 out of thin air. He's obviously done something in the build-up to conceding, but they haven't. I think De Gea's ones have been more prominent, though, like the one against Watford as well, where he should have just caught it and it bounced off the crossbar or the upright, and then it went in. A couple at his near post where he should have done better. A couple where he's got to come for the ball. I think it was against Newcastle, was it against Everton? And then Lindelof ended up scoring an own goal. I think it could have been Newcastle. No, it was Everton, I think. But yeah, it's hard. But I think Henderson, look, they're higher than Arsenal. They've been solid all year. They don't concede a lot of goals. He makes a hell of a lot of saves. He's had a better season than Leno.
No, given the fact of what Leno has done.
Not having it.
No. The thing is, it's like I said, it's always down to interpretation, and it's, you know, I think that you've got to give the Sheffield United centre backs credit as well.
Brilliant.
I think you've got to give Chris Wilder the credit for the organisation. You also got to remember that they actually finished behind Norwich in the Championship, and look where they are in the Premier League, and look where Norwich are. So, you know, last season Norwich were a better side than them, but coming to the Premier League, they've obviously adapted and done what they need to do at the right time. But, you know, the first season in the Premier League is not always the hardest. It's after.
Yeah, 100%.
If you actually, you know, if you survive in the Premier League, because what happens is that Sheffield United were an unknown, you know, quantity this season. A lot of teams were like, Sheffield United, don't really know much about them. Got some big lads, might rough it up a bit, and next season, everyone's going to know all about Sheffield United.
This is why you've got to rate Wolves, because Wolves came in last season, didn't they? Smashed it up. Everyone was like flipping it. Like, the way these not play football. They got European football. They got out the groups. They beat Olympiacos as well. I know it was behind closed doors, but, you know, they're doing well in Europa League. They're still fighting for Champions League. They got some phenomenal players, play great football, and haven't had anything like a second season syndrome. It looked like it in the first 5 games. I remember thinking at the beginning of the season, they've been sussed. They're getting, you know what I mean, they're on the wrong end of results. And then he's managed to get them playing again. It is true. And it's hard to keep that consistency in the league, isn't it?
It is. And I think that he's, you know, found some gems in there as well.
Proper.
And, you know, without being disrespectful to Sheffield United, I don't think that Sheffield United are going to be able to attract the likes of Patricio and whatnot. And yeah, maybe if they get European football, they might be able to attract a little bit higher up, shall we say.
Nuno's been a big part of that quarter. They've got a lot of Portuguese, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. So he's kind of got that, you know, piece of the market where he knows that. And I know that every club has scouts around the world and everything else, but, you know, you look at some of the players that they've got in there at Wolves, and Wolves' biggest problem now is keeping those players together.
Bless me.
Jesus.
It's not Corona, don't worry. It's all right.
Corona.
It's fine.
Corona, Steve.
No, you know the thing is, before the lockdown happened, you know when people was like, I've never been so afraid to sneeze or cough in public because you just get looked at. Like a sneeze is not a normal thing.
I am so glad we're not doing this show next to each other, because I'd be on the run right now.
Mate, a sneeze is a sneeze. The world's gone crazy. You know what I mean?
Bro, you actually went off camera. The sneeze was that bad, it shook it.
No, I just didn't want that freeze frame where someone clips it and it's me going. even I just done it. But
the thing is, you know the first person who would have done that?
Who?
Goldbridge.
Yeah.
He'd have stitched you right up.
Yeah, he would have. He is a wind up. You know, the last thing I want to talk about, last 10 minutes. Over 2,500 people watching, which has been brilliant. Smash a like on the video, as per usual. Who's going to win the league sooner out of us two? What a question. Be honest.
You know what, right? You know what? And I know I'm on a Man United channel here. So before I abuse everyone, I may as well plug my own channel. Make sure you Mr. DT, yeah? Go and join me over there. Do daily shows and everything else. So it's cool.
I don't like where this is going because there can only be one answer. But go on.
So I may as well put that in there just at the moment. Is that, yeah, right. Now.
This is the bit where I click mute your mic.
Now, this is the thing, Flex, right? Let's be real about this, yeah? Since Sir Alex Ferguson left, what's it been, 6 years?
Going on 7 now, yeah.
Going on 7 years? Manchester United have only finished above Arsenal once. So if you're going by recent times, over the last 5-6 years, Arsenal have done more, or done better. We've won the same amount of trophies. So if you're going to go by league standings, Arsenal have had the better time since Sir Alex Ferguson left. If you're going on current teams as we are, dependent on how they build, if you sign the likes of Sancho, I will start to worry because he's an unbelievable talent. And you've got Bruno Fernandes already in. I still feel you're going to be lacking serious firepower. I still don't. For me, I don't rate Rashford. I still don't rate him. I don't think that he's going to... Rashford's not going to win you Champions Leagues and Premier Leagues, in my opinion.
He can. Not
He's
not by himself, but I agree he's not prolific. Like he's going to get 30, 35 goals a season. Playing from the left, he's going to get into
I go by Manchester United of years gone by. I go by what you've set your stall at, shall we say. And I go by, you know, Van Nistelrooy's, Van Persie, York and Cole, you know, all the great strikers that you've had that could single-handedly win you matches week in, week out, and win you titles ultimately. I don't think Marcus Rashford is that player. That's my personal opinion. I don't
about Rashford this season. We wouldn't have hardly any of the goals that we've had.
Yeah, that's fine, but you need a next level, another elevation on top of that. He's not, you know, Man City have got an Aguero, for example. Yeah, he wins you league titles. Liverpool, they're very unique in the sense that they've got a front three and every single one of them contributes. But, you know, a couple of years ago without Salah, they wouldn't have done what they did. You know, this season, it was as though the mantles kind of switched a bit. And I feel Mane's more important than Salah this season. You know, so they're offloading everything in that sense. So unless you can do that, I'm just going by what I've seen in...
But the thing is with Rashford is that he's not our number 9. He's not our striker. He's not. He's our left winger. He plays on the left. So who plays on the left for you? Martinelli or
Aubameyang?
Do you know what I mean? Aubameyang. All right, cool. Aubameyang's a bit of a different case because he is a number 9, but he's kind of just really good at converting and he just scores goals. But Rashford is not what our team's centered around. And I don't think Solskjaer's gone for that type of striker because even with Martial, he's made him our number 9, and I think he's our best number 9 that we currently have. He plays better there for me. Some people still think he's better coming off the left, but I agree there could be a point where we need a focal point, but not if we get Jadon Sancho. If we get Jadon Sancho on the right-hand side, that front three will have enough goals in it to win a league for me. I think easily. You know, Jadon Sancho is going to get you, let's say, 15 goals minimum, double figures assists. If we're going on what we know he can do, Martial, he's going to get you double figures now. He's coming into his own under Ollie. He's already at like sort of 14, 15 goals this season. And yes, you need them to break into that 20 plus. I get it, of course. Rashford, if he didn't get injured, could potentially have done the same thing, get into that period as well. And I just think if the way that Ollie's going, he might not need that prominent guy up front. So and Rashford's still young, man. I've been one of Rashford's biggest critics. I don't believe that he's like the Mbappe level. I don't believe he was as good as everyone said he was. but he's growing. He's getting much better. He's continuing to prove the doubters wrong, and he's getting goals. You know, so I agree. He might not be elite level yet, but he definitely can be world class in the future. He's got potential. Right now, it's potential. He's got to, you know, be more consistent. And this season, I think we've seen that out of him. In terms of the league, the reason why I back us to win the league sooner than Arsenal, I just think it's easy, really. I've seen you lot cock it up so much in terms of your transfer policy, your owners, the types of players that you buy. And we haven't been perfect. Of course we haven't. Hence the reason why, like you said, we've only finished above you once, and we've both been a million miles away from winning the league. But I just think we'll get it right quicker than you. I think our resources are better than you. They always have been. I think they'll continue to be better than yours. I think we'll keep speculating to accumulate. Yes, we've got problems with our own owners, but like you said, our investment is actually still there at a high rate. We went and go and bought Pogba 90 million. We spent 75 million on Lukaku. I know it didn't end up the right way, but we still do it. We're going to go and spend 100 million on Sancho. Money's not an issue. We'll still go and get those players. 85 million on Maguire because we need a centre back. Bang, we'll just still do it. So I think I think that coupled in with the young players we got coming through. Someone said Greenwood there. Scott McTominay's doing all right. We're building a little core. Fred's coming good again. We've got Pogba. We bought Bruno. I think we'll get there before you.
Do you know what? I honestly think your biggest problem is that little weasel guy. That
Alexis.
No, I'm not even on about the players.
He's a little weasel guy.
I'm not even on about the players. I'm on about
Ed Woodward.
That's it, him. So Manchester United, yes, they've got the financial firepower. Yes, they can go and spend ridiculous amounts of money, but they've spent ridiculous amounts of money in the last 6 years and got it wrong.
100%.
Horribly. So much. So,
but we have changed that now, though, in terms of because of that, we've changed the mold. The mold of player has changed. The profile's changed. What I would
say is that I honestly think when next season starts, I genuinely believe that Solskjaer will not complete the season as Man United manager. I reckon he'll be sacked.
You lot were saying he was going to get sacked by Christmas, and it was Emery who went before him. I ain't listening to you lot.
Bloody then.
You lot was all starting the season. Yo, Emery's going to do this, or Ole will be sacked by Christmas and that. And now
you've got to have a little bit of optimism. Yeah, you need a little bit to look forward to. But like I said, it's the weird thing with Manchester United is that there's such a divide. I feel with the fans over Solskjaer. Like,
there is 100%.
There's a sense of loyalty. I feel it's very similar to Wenger in terms of the loyalty, not the managerial side, because Wenger's on a million miles ahead of Solskjaer in terms of managerial. I feel that that loyalty, because he was a legend, 99 and all the rest of it, I feel that there's some Manchester United fans are like, he's not right for the club. We would like a Pochettino, for example, but I don't want to say Ole out. I don't really want to go in because I love the guy. There's that sense. Whereas with Mourinho, straight away when it was going wrong, it was like
very easy to jump. Yeah.
He's a Chelsea manager.
Yeah, you don't owe him anything. Yeah,
it's off Jose. Same with David Moyes. When it weren't going right, where's David Moyes? Everton, get out the door. But because there's that emotional attachment to Solskjaer, it's kind of. I genuinely think that if it starts going wrong, if you go out there and spend the money in the summer, for argument's sake, you get Sancho. Let's say Sancho doesn't hit the ground running, finds the Premier League a little bit tougher than the Bundesliga, which it will be, and he doesn't give a return instantly, and it takes him a little while, and results might not go your way. People turn very quickly, and that's when people will then start going, well, hold on a minute. We're sitting in 5th or 6th place, but we've got Jadon Sancho, we've got Rashford, we've got Martial, we've got Bruno. The manager can't get the best out of them. We need to get rid of him and get a manager that can get the best out of what we've got, Pogba and blah, blah, blah.
I agree. I agree. I agree to a certain extent that once you spend that type of money and have those sorts of players at your disposal, like you said there, that point will come with fans saying, well, we've got this, and this. The same at Liverpool. I said it, which to be fair, I was silenced, but some of my Liverpool friends, I was like, yeah, but how long are you lot going to keep, you ain't won nothing yet. This is before they won the Champions League. And he was like, I don't care, because when they lost the final, And I said to him, see, you've got all this here, Klopp's doing this, but you're not winning nothing. He's like, I don't care. I can see progression. We'll win something. And lo and behold, don't get me wrong, they've ended up doing amazingly. But that pressure comes from it. Like, you've built the core. You've got Salah, you've got Mane, you've got Firmino. It looks good. You're playing sick football. But what have you got to show for it? And I agree. But I don't think, because we're not at that level yet and we're building, Solskjaer's definitely done the best rebuild we've seen since Sir Alex.
Yeah. Do you know the only problem before we go? Now, I'd say the only issues here is that Jurgen Klopp came from a background of winning trophies.
Yeah, he's got pedigree. Yeah.
He broke the dominance of Bayern Munich in Germany, whereas Solskjaer's background is taking Cardiff down and being relegated and
winning multiple titles at Mulder is his background.
Yeah, mate, please don't.
He's a winner. He's a winner.
Yeah, hey, listen. He's
won more titles than Arteta.
Hey, I've won a trophy as well. I've won more than Solskjaer in England. Do you know what I mean? Look at that. I've won more trophies than Solskjaer in England, yeah? Representing. Make sure you show some respect. DT, yeah? The managerial masterclass. Yeah? So, but what I say, and the last thing I will say is I see it in the comment section, and this is a question to throw, yeah? Do you think Newcastle United will win the league before England?
As you say, behave. Listen, DT, thanks for coming on, bro. Bring up all your socials and the team and that and stuff.
Yeah, listen, everyone knows where to find me. Mr. DT AFC on the socials. And then YouTube, it's Mr. DT. So come over, come and see us. Hopefully when we're all back to normal, we can do some face-to-face stuff, as long as Flex ain't sneezing all over us. And I'd like to get involved in the cooking show with Goldbridge as well.
Yeah, 100%. We should set some stuff up with that. That looks good.
Most definitely, because we done it a year or so ago, didn't we? Me and Troops done a cooking show with Robbie and stuff like that, and we had a lot of fun. So I think everyone would be very interested in a Goldbridge versus DT cook-off. You know, the Great British Bake Off. do
it. The worst British Bake Off. That'll be Jesus Christ. Yes, I'm Flex UTD across all of the socials. Make sure you check that out and check out my channel, The Flex, as well. And also check out my Instagram, because I'll be doing another Instagram live tomorrow. 7-hour marathon. I don't know if I'll do 7 hours again. I've done 7 hours the last couple of weeks, man. It's been crazy. I've loved it. So jump onto my Instagram, Flex UTD. DT will be in the comments as well. You know what I mean? He'll be there partying. Don't know how long he's going to last, but he'll be there. Smash a like on the video as per usual. Get sharing, get subscribing, and thanks for watching, guys. DT, thanks for coming on. I'll speak to you again very, very soon. We are out of here, people.